Wellesley Town Hall is one of the most iconic buildings in the state, on the National Register of Historic Places, and the seat of government in our community. But the nearly 140-year-old building, actually two separate buildings that were joined together in 1959, doesn't meet the needs of a 21st century workplace. A major exterior renovation completed in 2020 triggered accessibility requirements determined by the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board, or MAAB.
As a condition of the 2020 envelope project, we are required to meet full accessibility for this entire building.
Outside, this requires widening the sidewalks and improving the slope from the parking lot to the accessible entrance at the back of Town Hall. Inside, following years of study, the town is recommending a full-scale renovation that will address accessibility, but also outdated technology, facilities, and substandard systems like the building's only elevator.
This system, based on its age, is not reliable. We've had it down for weeks at a time, and that's because we've been unable to find replacement parts for it. Sometimes it can take weeks just to get the parts. So again, it impacts people who have physical challenges and cannot use the stairs.
In recent years, failing building systems have resulted in ceiling leaks, sewage backups, peeling paint due to water damage, all creating unhealthy working conditions.
And you can see an example of what this looks like. The condensation creates mold. We actually had to cover the pipe insulation here. Now, we've replaced it a number of times, but it's a continuous problem. And you can see we have dehumidifiers all over the place down here trying to address it as best as we can. But this really highlights the fact that the systems are not functioning as they should be, and they're well beyond their service life. Okay, so we're in the mechanical room here in the lower level. You can see the 1985 air handling unit behind me. You can also see that we're currently in the process of transitioning from the cooling season to the heating season. Again, that's one of the challenges with the air conditioning heating system in this building. It's a two-pipe system, so you can't just flip a switch and go from cooling to heating. It's pretty much a day-long process of draining down pipes, closing off valves, and starting up the heating system. Something else I'd like to point out is there's a floor drain below this ductwork that you can see, and in 2017 we had a sewage backup. The sewer line that runs down the front of the Town Hall Honeywell Park backed up into this room, through this drain, and flooded most of the lower level.
The problems with the building are complex, costly. Some departments on the lower level have had to move out completely and severely impact how well the town can serve its residents.
When the space is not correct and you have to think about your working space all the time, it can, it affects what you're doing from day to day because you're not comfortable, you're not working efficiently because, you're too cold, you're too hot, whatever the case may be. This end of the building has always been cold. My office is even colder than the main office. In the winter times, I sometimes had to wear my winter jacket in my office to keep warm. I used to keep a space heater under my desk, blowing on my legs. That's how cold it was. And it was no one's fault, it's just the systems are tired and they need to be updated.
Upstairs, it's even more apparent that the two joined buildings were never designed to be one.
So here we are at the main staircase at Town Hall, and as you can see, one of the issues is it's not wide enough, not just for two people passing at the same time, but for firefighters, emergency personnel who need to access the stair.
Plagued by a severe lack of space, an entryway doubles as a meeting and storage area. Poor building circulation, dead-end corridors, and confusing signs often mean that meetings in the Giuliani room are interrupted by embarrassed residents trying to find the town clerk's office.
So we're in the clerk's office, and a couple of things I'd like to highlight here is the general lack of space, the lack of security, and the biggest issue here, or one of the biggest issues, is the lack of a Secretary of State's requirement for a 6-hour fire-rated vault to protect vital documents.
The town clerk is required by the Commonwealth to securely maintain records indefinitely. Many of these records are historical, irreplaceable, and valuable. They include records of births, deaths, and marriages in the town, as well as the handwritten original Act of Incorporation for the town itself.
More deficiencies show up in other areas of the building. Meetings in the Great Hall are difficult due to dim lighting and glare, poor acoustics caused by old, loud machinery, and a severe lack of work and storage space. In the Human Resources Department, more challenges.
And this is where prospective employees are interviewed. This is where the HR board meets. And this is an example of the poor conference rooms that we have in the building. The acoustics are terrible with the brick wall. Lighting is overlit, but the ventilation is very, very poor. In fact, we have to leave this door open when we're having confidential meetings.
Throughout the building, there are random rods, strange steps, and sloping ramps that can be hazardous for everyone.
So the last space I'd like to point out here in the Select Board's office is Conference Room G. This is the primary meeting space for staff. First thing you'll notice is there's a sloping ramp again leading into this space. In fact, about a month and a half ago, one of our employees was seriously hurt coming in here. This also serves as our kitchenette. Slipped and fell down this ramp and almost hit her head on the wall here.
At special town meeting on October 24th, town meeting members will consider a request for construction funds for the Town Hall interior renovation project. This caps off 10 years of work to determine the scope and cost to repair and completely renovate Wellesley's most significant municipal building. As stewards of this building, town leaders are committed to making sure Town Hall can serve our community well for years to come.
Right now, the plan is to really make this building a 50-year building. So the last renovation occurred in the 80s, and this would bring us, hopefully to 2070 at the earliest, to say the least. But it's really bringing up all of our accommodations for our staff, to bring up all of the working conditions, but also to enhance our public meeting spaces, both at the Giuliani Room, the room we're currently standing in, as well as the Great Hall. The elections division of the town clerk is here. This is where people would come to get their marriage licenses, birth certificates. So it's really from the start of your life to the end of your life, really happens at Town Hall from a government standpoint.